Now, once you've been through all the video tutorials on the Selfie website's client area, and we'd strongly recommend you watch all the videos first before you go and actually start creating your website, once you've done all that, you'll be raring to actually go ahead and start building your website. Now, once you've purchased your website through Selfie websites itself, it will take us a certain amount of time to install your website files and actually get it ready for you. Now, that can take anywhere between 3 days if you've purchased the Enterprise Edition, through to up to 14 days if you've purchased the Starter Edition. Now, once we've installed your website files and your website is ready for you to start building and customizing, we'll send you an email just to confirm that. So we'll send you an email with a link to your new website, and that'll also include login details to access what we call the back end of your website. Now, there are two areas to get your head around. First is the back end of your website, which is where you will be editing your website. The other side is the front end, which is basically what your website visitors will see, and you'll probably hear me referring to the two of those intermittently through various video tutorials. So the back end is where you do all your backroom editing, and the front end is just the end that your users will see. So once we've sent you your email confirmation with a link to your new website in, you will arrive at your new website, which will look something like this. Now, this is essentially just a holding page, and you'll be able to edit this holding page as you'll see in one of our later videos. For now, in this video tutorial, all I'm going to do is show you how to log into your website and just give you a quick overview of your control panel itself, so essentially the back end of your website. So first of all, we're going to log in, so we're going to click this link down here to log in, and that will take you to a page that prompts you to add a username and password. Now, we'll provide you with those as part of that email. Now, as soon as you've logged in, you'll arrive at a page that looks something like this. This is what I refer to as your back end or your control panel, and we're going to take a look at what you've got access to in this video. So, once you've arrived at the back end of your website, or the control panel if you like, this is where you can create and edit every aspect of your website. Now, we've got a couple of tools up here on the toolbar, which I'm going to look at in just a moment, and we've got your main tools down the left hand side here. So first of all, let's just take a look at what you have access to. Now, you have a link up here that will say the name of your website and a link to visit the site. Now, if you click on that, that will take you to what we call the front end of your website. So this is what your website will actually look like. So you can flick between the front end and the back end of your website by simply clicking that top link there. So as you're making changes to your website in the back end, you can then see what those changes look like by clicking back through to the front end of your website. So any changes you make happen in real time, so you don't have to wait days for any changes to take effect. As soon as you make a change here in the back end, it will take effect immediately in the front end of your website. The other thing I wanted to show you up in this toolbar was a fairly important thing just to make you familiar with from the start, is how to log out. So once you finish making your changes to your website, don't forget to log out of your website. That will just help to keep your site secure. So, in terms of what you have down here on the left hand side, we've got various different tools that allow you to create and customize your website. Now, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what each of these are, the main ones at least, but we'll cover each of these in a lot more depth in some of the other video tutorials, which you can find in the client area of the Selfie website's site. So first of all, you've got the dashboard. This is where you arrive at first of all. Now we're going to skip over that, and we're going to have a quick look at posts. Now, posts allow you to create essentially a blog on your website. So this is where you can manage all of your posts. You can create new posts, you can create categories for posts. So a post is basically like a page on your website. However, it is more to be used for things like articles, so news, any latest product launches you're doing perhaps. You'll notice that we also have a section for pages. So it's a little confusing in terms of why would you have pages and posts. Now, just to try and give you an explanation of that, a page would typically be something you'd create, for example, your About Us page, or your store, or prices, on your website, you typically create that as a page, whereas a post is more kind of regular news articles, if you like. So latest information about your new products or services, perhaps you've changed premises, any news you want to sort of publish through like a blog. That is how you can create that using posts. Now, in one of the later videos, I'll show you how to create new posts and how to edit posts, but for now all I want to do is show you that's what that does. Media is basically what your library of all the images you have on your website. Now, as and when you're creating new posts and pages, you can upload images to those posts or pages, and they are all stored within your media library. And again, we'll cover that in the later video tutorials. Pages, as I mentioned, is basically how you'd create your website in itself. So your About Us page, your payment page, pricing pages, and again we'll cover how to do that in a later video. Comments is a section where you can administer all of the comments that your website users may be posting on your website. So when you post a blog, for example, a blog article through a post section, you can allow your website visitors to comment on those posts if you want to, and when they're commenting you can choose to approve those posts before they go live, and you can manage all that through the comment section. Now, you can of course switch all comments off if you don't want to allow your website visitors to comment on any posts on your website, and again we'll cover that in a later video, so don't worry about the ins and outs of all of these now. All I'm trying to do is show you where each of the tools are. So posts and pages are really the two biggest areas that you'll be getting involved with. We're now going to take a look at some of the other tools which allow you to customize the look and the settings of your website. So when you're looking at customizing the style of your website, that's where we would go under the appearance section. Now, the appearance is where we can choose different themes. Now, a theme is a website design, a website template. As you may have seen through the Selfie website's client area, you've got a various number of different templates you can install for your website design, and the theme section is where you would install those. Well, don't worry, we will cover this in a lot more detail as and when you come to upload a design. Again, for now, all I'm doing is showing you an overview of where you can access this information. You've got things like being able to customize your navigation bar, which is the menu setting, and you've got your theme options. Now, it currently says Boutique. That's because I'm using a template called Boutique, but depending on which template you're using, that will change name, but it will be your theme options. Now, if we click on there just for a quick second, this is going to show you what's called our ePanel. Now, the ePanel is where you can customize a lot of the layout and design settings for your site. Now, we'll go into that in a lot more detail in the future videos, but for now that's where you can find that. So the appearance section is really all the tools you have available to customize the look and style of your website. Now, plugins is where you can add additional accessories to your website. So if you've seen through the Selfie website's client area, we have a web accessory section to allow you to install things like website forms, a website shop. Now, we would install those by plugging it in essentially through a plugin section. Again, I'll go into detail about how to do that in later videos. For now, all I'm doing is just showing you where that information is. Users is a section that allows you to create additional users for your website. So if you have a number of people in your organization and you want them all to be able to administer your website, you can create separate profiles for each of them and separate login details by adding new users. And the last thing I'm just going to touch on is settings. Now, settings is a section that you'll need to configure, first of all, just to set a few basic settings on your website. Once that's done, you probably won't need to go into this again. It's just setting up those initial settings for your website, and we'll cover that in one of the later videos you'll see in the Selfie website's client area. Okay, so that is a basic overview of the back end of your website, or the control panel of your website, from where you can create and manage your entire website. Now hopefully that's given you a good feel for how to actually log in, and some of an overview of some of the key areas that we're going to be covering in some of the later videos.